once the turkey is settled and all of your gifts from Santa have been unwrapped, actually, we're going to give you even more exclusive coverage. We've got a double dollop of Christmas Day NFL action for you on talkSPORT. At 6 p.m, the Kansas City Chiefs can seal number one seed going into the postseason. They take on the Pittsburgh Steelers to face the playoff-bound team live on talkSPORT 2. 9 p.m. on talkSPORT, the Baltimore Ravens travel to Houston to face the Texans. That also includes a halftime show from Beyonce live and full as part of our coverage. That's in her hometown as well. So that's Christmas Day NFL Live from 6 o'clock on talkSPORT 2 tomorrow, and then on talkSPORT from 9 o'clock. You wouldn't want to play Christmas Day football, would you? I mean, they did it in 1965, I think. Would you want to do that on Christmas Day?
We'd go in training. We'd train Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, play Boxing Day.
No, I'm not talking about training. I'm talking about actual matches on Christmas Day.
Look,
you couldn't do that, right? Because logistically, you couldn't do that. There's no trains, no buses. Yeah, it would be a nightmare. Well, we have our tradition. Our tradition is Boxing Day. We should embrace our tradition.
Absolutely, Sam. The best 2 days of the year for me, playing wise, was first game of the season, the anticipation of what's about to come, and also Boxing Day. You know, I'd sit there with my family at Christmas Day. You know, they'd be eating their roast potatoes with turkey and all the trimmings and the pigs in blankets, lots of dessert, 4 or 5 different types of them. I'll be there with my chicken and pasta. And, you know, but I loved it. I loved it. The atmosphere on a Boxing Day game. I think ultimately, though, I think players and ourselves involved in the media will do whatever the fans want. I think that's ultimately what it's about. We played in weekends and evenings because that's when most people don't work. So that's the whole point. But I don't think there's a need for it. And I would say that most people, that was interesting in America, it's different.
Yeah, America's different.
Just want to be with their family on Christmas Day, and then Boxing Day they get kicked out. Go to football and cheer off what they've been eating.
But Christmas is a bit different in America, isn't it? It's not quite the same. Not everything shuts down like it does here. And they do these tailgate parties 5 or 6 hours before the big NFL games, and there's a cookout, and everybody goes around and sort of gets involved in it. And it's, it's different. It's a different atmosphere around it. And I can understand it, and it's a tradition that's been built up. NBA used to be the big sport on Christmas Day. It's been overtaken by the NFL. They get 20, 30 million people watching the big TV games. Netflix has put in loads of money to have the global rights just on Christmas Day. I mean, amazing, really. We're all going to be able to watch them on Netflix if you've got a Netflix subscription. So there is a sort of keenness to have live sport. Football is pretty much every day.
Yeah.
I don't think we need it on Christmas Day as well.
I don't think people necessarily want to go out on Christmas Day and go and watch it. And then, as you say, with transport, how do they get there? They're going to get coaches all the time and not train. No, just keep it as is. But players do go in to train on Christmas Day. That's all I want to say. It's not as if they have the day off.
Yeah, but
some do.
The producer, Ollie's saying, well, there's not that much transport on Boxing Day either. There isn't, but there is some. There's absolutely nothing on Christmas Day at all. What about the treatment that Jack Grealish got on Saturday? How did you feel about it? Because Michael Owen was talking about Jack Grealish getting booed by the Aston Villa fans. We were doing the commentary, you and I, of that game. Aston Villa were brilliant, by the way. We were very impressed with them. Manchester City, less so. Michael Owen saying on X that he felt sick to the bottom of his stomach after the boos went around for Jack Grealish every time he touched the ball. Actually, I thought he did all right in the first half, but he wasn't very good in the second 45 minutes. But City weren't very good in the second 45. He's a massive Villa fan. He joined them at 6. He was there for 19 years. It's the club he supports. It's the city that he absolutely loves. I mean, he's quite good at sort of taking banter. I'm sure he would be like, water off a duck's back. But did you think it was a little bit too much?
No, not really. I think it's a shame in a way, but it is what it is. He left their club, and it's what makes football, for me, the number one sport in the world. It's so tribal. You're a hero 1 minute and you decide to leave, and he did decide to leave, but he also decided to leave to sign a big contract first, which then allowed the £100 million clause to come in. Yep. And he actually, almost in that sense, helped Aston Villa get £100 million. So, look, is it right? Not really. Is it football? Whenever we got stick, I always used to think, do you know what? I'm doing something that I absolutely love. I'm getting paid to do. Take it. Just keep your head down, and that's exactly what he did. He was City's best player. I mean, no one played well in the second half, but he was their best player in the first half. And look, at this time of the season, for me, it was more pantomime boons than anything else. I didn't feel there was a sinister side to it.
I didn't think it was sinister, but I did mention it in commentary that I was a bit surprised that it was constant, because he did earn them 100 million quid, and he obviously absolutely does. He's quite vocal about the fact that he loves the club as well,
and he'll be loved again, Sam. He will. It's still a bit raw. You know,
it's going to be any one club teams anymore, one club players anymore. It doesn't happen like that as much as it used to. I mean, there'll be the odd one, but they're few and far between. There's no John Terry and Gabriel Bonlahors. Anyway, John Terry played for Aston Villa, by the way, afterwards.
True.
And Frank Lampard played for Manchester City, of all teams, would you believe, after it leaving Chelsea. So there's one club players are very few and far between. You know, Mark Noble's probably the only one I can think of off the top of my head in recent times.
Well, obviously, Steven Gerrard was certainly one of them. The biggest thing for me was I never really saw him as a Pep Guardiola type player. He's had one good season in 3, and it's going to be fascinating to see what Man City have to do in terms of the turnover. And I think that's what will happen. Pep will sit down with the hierarchy and say, right, we need to be ruthless here. Will Jack Grealish stay? Will Jack Grealish want to stay because he's not been playing?
Well, there's a lot of players that are going to be in that boat as well. And, we did an interview with Josko Gvardiol and Matthias Nunez, and the way they answered the questions about the current plight of the team actually troubled me more than the plight itself, because they were almost sort of accepting that this is the circumstance that they find themselves in. I think there's a lot to do with the fact that the players that have been recruited have all been on upward trajectories. Yes, there have been moments over their careers where I'm sure they've had to jump over hurdles. You don't get to become a professional footballer unless you've got the ability to overcome adversity. But most of their careers so far, a lot of the younger players that are in the squad have always been on the up. And as soon as they bump into adversity, obviously this is the first time, they haven't really adapted to it properly. And I think also the questions have to be asked about the way they recruited players over the summer and why they didn't decide to add further names to that roster, because it looks very, very light.
Yeah, but I have a bit of a thing about, when I hear people saying it's Pep's first big test. It's like, it's 16 years. Okay, this has never been done before in terms of 9 defeats and 12.
I don't think anyone's said
that. I've heard that. I've heard that. And I've heard that.
But Barcelona, when it was all going wrong in 2012, that was a massive test.
Well, when he first took over, they hadn't won a trophy for 2 years and got rid of Deco and Ronaldinho, who was like the hero and took a year to get.
Eto'o.
Exactly, Eto'o a year later, coming up against Real Madrid's with Jose Mourinho in charge as well, and Karl-Heinz Rummenigge saying, okay, he didn't win the Champions League with us at Bayern Munich, but he made us better. And Philipp Lahm, the World Cup winning captain, saying, no, I can't be a manager because of what Pep Guardiola's done. Then he goes to Manchester City and people saying he's only won the Champions League because of Lionel Messi, and he's basically created Barcelona without Lionel Messi with Manchester City. Yes, the worrying thing is it's not just one win in 12, it's 9 defeats out of 12 as well. And I certainly didn't see this drop-off, but they've just created English football history in top flight by winning 4 straight. Not even the Liverpool sides or the Fergie sides were able to do that. There was always going to be a drop-off. Now they have to be ruthless. Now they have to say, right, who's going to go, who's not going to go. But please don't question Pep Guardiola, for me anyway. Don't question him, but in terms of saying he's under pressure for his job.
Yeah, I mean, that would be silly. I'm sure, though, he will want to put a win on the board when they take on Everton live on talkSPORT on Boxing Day. I think it's going to be a difficult game, actually. Everton have managed to keep out Arsenal and Chelsea in recent matches, and Manchester City have struggled to score against an Aston Villa defence that does concede goals, and a Manchester United defence that really does concede goals. So it'll be interesting to see how they get on against Everton live on talkSPORT midday Boxing Day.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.